Stop letting society tell you about the best skincare routines, the hottest plastic surgeons, or the cream that will keep your skin from aging. It's time we start asking ourselves, what the fuck is beauty anyway? If we remove all the IG filters, is there more to a beautiful face than just skincare? Well, I'm here to share it with you, and hell yeah, there is. My name is Jen Carrasco. I have been an esthetician, as well as a high-level fitness competitor, and an all-around badass for over a decade. And I need you to know there is way more to keeping your mind and body clean than just a cream. Join me each week as I cut the BS out of getting healthy, caring for ourselves, and caring for our skin. I share real tips, real ingredients, and real experience. Now let's get some answers on what the fuck is beauty anyway. What is up, guys? It's Jen Carrasco here. So I am actually on a little vacation. It's a business trip for the Arte Syndicate. A group of us got together and we are meeting in Arizona. So we are in Arizona. So hopefully this podcast turns out okay because I am not in my regular studio like I normally am. But today, I get a lot of questions about how to look younger and the secrets of looking younger and what to do as we age. And I think definitely at my age of 41, I feel like I've definitely taken really good care of my body and my skin and my hormones and what's going on. So I guess my question for you is, where do you want to be as you age? And what are the factors that are bothering you about your aging process? And I've always really dove in deep with the fact of aging. It stems from a lot of different aspects in our life. It's not necessarily just, the products that you put on your face, which make a huge difference, but it's also your environment, your hormones, how active you are, where you live, what relationships you're in, if it's toxic, if you're toxic to yourself, if you're negative or positive. It's a whole affirmation of what we do to ourselves that causes the aging process. And I look back at a little bit of my life, and I don't know if you resonate with this, but I am hard on myself and I have trials and tribulations, definitely with finances or business, raising children, marriages, things in my life that I have definitely stressed my body out, as well as fitness, because you think as a pro bodybuilder, you are constantly stressing your body out, which causes aging process. You think if you're going and working out consecutively and you're ripping and you're tearing your muscles, your body's inflamed and it's repairing itself. So everything in life is about moderation and keeping that up. But I really wanted to dive in deep just to go over a little bit of, I feel like, the secrets of looking younger forever. And if this relates to you, hey, I'm great. I'm grateful. If it doesn't, and it's something that, you feel like you can bring into your life and change, I highly recommend. So we're going to go briefly. I'm going to make this a short little podcast, but I really wanted to go over little things that cause inflammation in your body and different stuff like that. So let's see. I made a list of what I want to go into, and I'm going to start off with the muscle factor. So the muscle factor, there's major key factors in aging, especially after we're 40. It really starts when we're in our later 20s, early 30s, but it definitely increases way more as we get into our 40s. So in a high intensity interval training class, which is what I do a lot of times, like box jumps, hits, things like that, to keep that stimulation. Hit is really good for your metabolism. It's really good for fat burning. But a lot of times, I see people struggle that are actually younger than I am. And there's a huge metabolic reason why this happens. So as we age, our metabolism slows down with age, of course, which means you accumulate more fat and you lose muscle. So, an average, you lose 5 pounds of muscle every decade after 30. So, that is huge. That's why a lot of people are on certain diets. You still really want to maintain that protein consumption because that is extremely beneficial for building the muscle, especially if you are definitely an avid person that likes to work out. So, if your muscles are replaced with fat, you lose strength. So, just know that. As we age, just like I went over about losing 5 pounds of muscle every decade, and those muscles are replaced with fat, and you lose your strength. So the key to focus on preserving and building your muscle mass is be muscle mass wise. I suggest getting a DEXA scan, a body composition scan, and that will tell you like your bone structure, your muscle structure, things like that. Another good thing for the aging process that I really haven't went over is our bone loss. So a lot of times people feel like they're aging and they're sagging in their face, and a lot of that has to do with our bone loss, not necessarily just our collagen and elastin. So keep that in mind, bone loss. So we need to make sure that we're getting our calcium, which comes from vitamin D. Do not do monk. Vitamin D, how many IUs should you be taking? All of that plays a role. And I will do a podcast just on vitamin D because I really think that is super beneficial. But now let's go over the brain factor. So your neurons, which are your nerve cells, lose speed and flexibility as you age. So part of the problem is your brain gathers rust just like an old vehicle does that's sitting in the rain or whatever else. So free radicals induce damage to cells, DNA, protein, and it's called a process which is called oxidative stress. If you don't have oxidant or antioxidants in place in your body, like your vitamin A, C, E, the part of your brain involved in memory creation and emotional control may shrink, especially if you're stressed out. So I even notice as I am aging that when I get stressed out, I can't necessarily reason as much as what I used to. So that tells me that I really need to work on these properties in my diet, like my vitamin A, C, and E. So on top of that, excess stress kills brain cells by increasing production of beta amyloid, which puts the brain at risk for Alzheimer's disease. So if you don't know, Alzheimer's disease is definitely at a high. So we really need to be cautious on that. The key is to focus on keeping your brain regeneratively and malleable as you get older. So I tend to do a lot of brain stimulations. I actually take supplements that help to build the frontal cortex of the brain. And I will do another podcast on that on another day because those are really cool. And I've definitely noticed a huge impact in my brain capacity and my knowledge capacity and like what I intake when I read it as I'm getting older with that. So the next one is going to be a hormone factor. So with age, both women and men, we lose testosterone. So that leads to more body fat deposits, especially in the breasts, hips, and the butt, stomach area. When women produce less estrogen, which normally protects the hair follicles and skin, lower levels of estrogen and testosterone may weaken your bones and your sex drive. It may trigger hair loss and heart disease. So like I said before, notice how your bones are deteriorating to where you're sagging in your face and things like that. So I really highly suggest to get a hormone doctor, and really, I'm a big advocate, and I know people say, oh, I'm not going to do it because it's cancer, blah, blah, blah. But if you have a good doctor that's regulating your hormones, I don't really think that's something that you have to factor in. I really think that a lot of people need to subsidize as we get older. It keeps that muscle on there. It keeps that bone stronger. There's science that is out there to help us and to benefit us in great ways. So anyway, your thyroid gland also starts to slow down. And along with it, your metabolism slows down with your thyroid. So the bathroom scale, you'll notice, will climb with pounds or even over months. Your cells become increasingly insensitive to hormone insulin, which leads to rising blood sugar. So again, it falls into the diet play. So if your diet isn't structured properly and you're having a lot of sugar, a lot of carbohydrates that are striking your insulin levels, your hormones they're like insensitive to those levels. So it spikes more and it causes more of that aging process or that more of that inflammation. So as a result of high blood sugar, you may feel foggier, experience strong cravings for carbs, then notice more skin wrinkling along with older looking facial appearance. So the right food, sleep, exercise, detoxification support can help reverse the signs of aging related to your hormone problems. So the next one, which I think this is literally a lot of our body, is our gut factor. So about 70% of our immune system lies between your gut lining. So it's where your immune system is overstimulated. Excess inflammation and even autoimmune conditions can start. So you really need to make sure, and also, if the autoimmune starts, you're more or less to get the microbes, and it's about 3 to 5 pounds of microbes, which is like bacteria in your body that you don't realize that you have. So the DNA from our microbes are collectively known as microbiome. And so that's our gut lining. I always say that is literally our like second or first brain in some instances. So imbalance in your microbiome may cause you to make more enzymes such as beta, which raises certain bad estrogen levels and lowers your protective estrogens. Further, excess stress raises your cortisol levels, releasing factor, which pokes holes in our gut lining. So especially with this pandemic and how everybody's really stressed to the max, it's probably the best time to really dial in your nutrition, your exercise, your meditation, things like that can really decrease that stress level. So finally, high stress can make you absorb nutrients poorly, especially your B vitamins, which you need for converting food, carbohydrates, fats, proteins into fuel. I actually met with a doctor not too long ago, and he taught me how to do vitamin B12 shots at home. And so I actually make that a daily habit to make sure that I have my vitamin B12. I think that is really important as we age, so that way our body can actually absorb the food that we're consuming. So into fuel, making DNA in your cells, keeping your nerves, blood cells healthy, preventing anemia, fatigue, premenstrual syndromes for women, and producing serotonin for mood, melatonin for sleep, which is huge. So serotonin for mood regulation and definitely our sleep is a huge factor as we age. It also helps with breast cancer risk reduction and to control levels of inflammation in the blood measured by biomarkers such as homeostasis. So anyway, let's go over the toxic factor, which I think is huge in our environment, especially if we're living in cities. It's actually pretty neat with this pandemic that's been going on to see how beautiful our cities are and all the wildlife coming out. I mean, it's really neat. But anyway, the toxic factor. So toxins from the environment accumulate in our fat. So meaning that increase of risk cancer, premature aging. So you're going to notice that including pollution, cigarette smoke, heavy metals, UV rays, chemotherapy, contaminated drinking water, preservatives, pesticides, exposure to certain poisons, they're going to show up in our DNA and our fat pockets. So they're noticing that people are taking samples of it and they're finding our pesticides, our preservatives, even like I discussed about the Viome. It's called Viome.com, which is, it's like a bowel. So you take your bowel movement and you send it in and they look through it and they go through it. It's like a gut intelligence thing and it tells you exactly kind of what's in your body. So I got mine back about a month ago and it was saying that I have certain viruses in my body, but they're actually plant viruses. And a lot of them are from the pesticides that are in the plants that I'm consuming. And I have that in my body. So I thought that was pretty interesting because I eat a lot of vegetables. So I tend to have more higher levels of these vegetable viruses in my body. But then it also went on to let me know like I have like the strep virus in my body, which is funny because I've never had strep in my life. Everybody around me has gotten it, but I have never gotten it. So it tells me exactly what is in my body. So it's super cool. You guys should check it out. It's called Viome, Viome.com. But anyway, So that's kind of just my brief rundown today that I wanted to go over, just a couple key points to really pay attention with the aging process. More, I'm not going into skin today, but more body wise, because our body is definitely our largest, well, our skin is our largest organ. But whatever's going on in our body is absorbing throughout our system, which is causing our aging process. So, anyway, on that note, you guys, have a fabulous rest of your day. I hope this helped you in any questions that you had going forward. And check me out. I am going to actually be doing weekly webinars for men and women to target specific things, plus have people on my on my webinars to really dissect and go in. So I'm gonna have a couple of doctors speak, things like that, to go over issues and concerning of aging, even injections or different forms that we want to talk about. So join my webinar. It's virago.vip. So it's VIRAGO.VIP, and those webinars will be starting next month. So with that note, have a fabulous day, you guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for turning in this week. I hope you feel more empowered and more inspired to love the skin you're in. As we navigate new society norms and beauty daily, make sure to always ask yourself, what the fuck is beauty to me? And know that's all that really matters. If you love this content today, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. Follow me and get more info on my guests at Virago Studio. Yes, I said it, Virago Studio. And that's the shit. See you on the next episode, beauties. This